Joe Reedy, sports writer in L.A. from the Associated Press. He's been around and wanted to talk to Joe today about Joshua Palmer, the Bills signing the wide receiver late of the Chargers.
Joe, no pressure. We're on the Twitch now, so the kids are watching. So just, watch it.
I don't think they can see you.
Hopefully you guys don't have a mugshot of mine that would scare children.
I don't think they can see you. If anybody comes at you that they could, let us know, because that shouldn't be possible. Right. We do not have a camera on you.
We're not that powerful, no.
We do not have a camera on you. Well, thank you, Joe. How's life in L.A.?
Not bad, but I'm moving back to Ohio in a couple days, so I'm packing suit coats at the moment, but happy to hear back east that things are warming up a bit.
Interesting. So are you leaving the Chargers beat?
Yeah, leaving the Chargers beat and replacing that by I will be doing the Browns and Bengals for AP Ohio.
Oh, congratulations on that. Well,
thank you.
Joshua Palmer, I guess, is also leaving the Chargers beat here, leaving for the Bills, and his signing reported yesterday. What are we getting here, Joe, just generally? He did not have, big numbers for L.A., one season better than the others. But, a fan's going to want to take that to maybe mean that he just didn't get a chance, or maybe it was the coaching transitions over the years. Is there sort of a reason why Palmer didn't ultimately do more for L.A. that would make you like this signing more for the Bills?
I think in years 2 or 3, he was solid. He did excel when both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were out of the lineup due to injuries in 2022 and 23. It was a reliable target for Justin Herbert, and those couple games where Easton Stick was a quarterback when Herbert got injured the last 4 or 5 games of 23. So I think he's a solid receiver. I think people were looking at him to make the next big step last year and maybe become a number 1 receiver because there was a lack of experience in that receiver room when both Keenan and Mike left, but it didn't quite end up that way, and I think the numbers were lower than expected, and he battled some injuries during the year too.
So the Chargers then bottle all that up. Someone who brought this, called into our show yesterday, Joe, asking, why wouldn't the Chargers want to hang on to a guy if he's ascending and there's still some potential in there? And I think that's a good question. We just went through an NHL trade deadline here, and I always like to consider, why does Ottawa want to trade me this player who's comparable to the player I'm trading them? And, change of scenery can work. Do you think the Chargers just sort of felt like, the prices are always going up? We went through this with Gabriel Davis, maybe pretty similarly here, expecting more, never really ascended, and now he's going to hit the open market, and I'm not paying that price.
Yeah, I think that is one of the reasons too. I think when you look at, because it's 3 years, $21 million for Palmer,
3 for 36.
Oh, 3 for 36. Yeah, a deal that's averaging $12 million. I don't. Yeah, I mean,
that would have been a non-starter for the Chargers, the way you look at it, right?
Yes, I mean, I am always pro player on second contracts because of what that can mean not only to the player but future generations of his family and everything. I mean, those second contracts are, for what it can do for families down the line and everything. Because I think first contracts, you buy the parents the house and maybe you get a few luxury items and stuff and maybe spend a little bit more because you have that money. But the second contract is more of the, for future generations, and that's when you truly get the financial advisor involved and stuff like that. So, but yeah, averaging $12 million, considering what the Chargers need in that receiver room. And let's put it this way: if you're Joe Ortiz in that front office, and I could sign Josh Palmer to a contract averaging $12 million over 3 years, or go out and get Najee Harris for 1 year, $9.5 million, when Jim Harbaugh and that offense likes to be balanced and physical and run the ball, I'm going with Najee Harris.
With our guest, Joe Reedy from the AP, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on WGR. The best case I've read, Joe, for this move for the Bills is the particular skills that Palmer seems to have that are his strengths. Separation. The Bills didn't really have that from their receiver room last year, so he provides that. Maybe he won't catch more passes for them than he would catch for L.A., around 40 for the last couple of years, but they might still like it. Your assessment of sort of like what the player is here, is he somebody you could see, big plays, touchdowns, that kind of role for a Josh Allen team, or maybe play a different role, instead?
He could get the big receptions when he needs to, and I think he can also be that possession type receiver when you need a guy to get 3-4 catches in a possession, keep the chains moving, and stay on schedule and move the ball down the field. I think with quarterbacks, they want targets that they are very comfortable with and who they can work with, and they know they're going to be solid in there. And I think Josh Palmer can be that type of receiver for Josh Allen. I mean, the amount of time that Palmer took the initiative his rookie year and down the line with Justin Herbert after practices, as far as let's go out and run routes and run extra routes and get catches and build more of a familiarity, I think can help. And I also think that a fresh start in Buffalo can help the receiver too. Maybe there was just a case last year where Josh felt pressure going into the last year of a rookie contract, and also seeing that receiver room where he was kind of expected to be the guy and the veteran in that room, and there might have been more pressure that he put on than was good. I think he's coming to a veteran receiver room in Buffalo where he doesn't have to be that guy. He can just be a guy, and I think we've seen receivers in the past kind of flourish after that.
Joe, how about the overall on the Chargers, where they're at? As you're packing to leave, I don't know. What's your review of how it went year one for Harbaugh? There's always a lot of hype there. There's a big personality there. But it seems like the build seems to be on track here.
Yeah, I think going into last year, I thought 10 wins and contending for the playoffs would be a good first step, and they won 11 and made the playoffs. So I think more slightly ahead than what people expected. I thought Joe Ortiz, as a first-year GM, knocked it out of the park with his draft, and also some of the some of the August and September moves that they made. They added a Puna Ford, who just got a big contract elsewhere. Made a trade to get an Elijah Molden, who the Chargers just re-signed. So he was always not content with the bottom of the roster and churning through and finding guys who fit the philosophy and the system. That if you got a guy who's well-rounded and you have a circle as a scheme, fits well. I think that was maybe a problem of, especially maybe the Telesco Staley partnership, where they tried to put round pegs into a square. And I think the Jackson signing at cornerback was the greatest example. He was a guy who excelled at man coverage, and this was a team that played primarily zone. So I think Ortiz and Harbaugh are well aligned, and I think it's going to be things are continuing to be on the upswing. Now, Harbaugh made the Super Bowl in his second year with the Niners. I wouldn't go on a limb to predict the same thing here, but I think they are close to maybe making a run in the AFC West and closing the gap with Kansas City.
Joe, having said all that, how disappointing or even shocking was that playoff loss? I mean, I liked this Chargers team a lot last year. Just the Harbaugh stuff and Herbert, all the quarterback narrative talk can get tiresome, but I kind of wanted to think that Herbert was like ready to, whatever you want to say, have a day in that game, just sort of show himself in the postseason, getting that chance. I mean, they couldn't protect him. I'm not saying he's entirely to blame for that game, but you had turnovers, ends up being kind of a disastrous loss. I mean, better to just kind of shake it off and take it for what it is, first year with a new coach, or did that loss maybe say something about the operation that isn't good?
I think this loss will have less of a detrimental effect on the franchise than blowing the big lead in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And because that was something where Brandon Staley and I think the team could not recover. I think a lot of the shortcomings that the Chargers had last season were laid bare in that game. They struggled against teams with balanced offenses. You saw that toward the end of the season with Tampa Bay, saw that again with Houston. Mobile quarterbacks they had trouble against, and Stroud was able to make some plays on the run. Defense that were heavy on blitzes. The offensive line kind of struggled in pass protection late in the year, and that happened. And I think they got too one-dimensional and off-script a little bit. And, when a quarterback throws more interceptions in one playoff game than during the entire regular season, that's not good. There were one or two tip passes, which I wouldn't put directly on the quarterback, but I also think that things really went sideways in that game when they tried to go for the jugular punch in the first half and did the bomb that was picked off. I think everybody in that stadium knew what play was coming, and it just after that, things went sideways big time.
Mm-hmm. The pick six end of the third quarter, you mean? that?
No, the first half, they got a turnover in Texans territory. I think it was 7-6 at the time.
Okay, right before halftime, yeah.
Yeah, and Herbert threw the bomb intended for Johnson, and it was a little bit overthrown and got picked off. Instead of maybe milking the clock a little bit and trying to maybe get the touchdown or
just run the half out.
Mm-hmm. Or
field
trying
goal,
to get
right.
the field goal to go up at the half. It went sideways there, but Ladd McConkey had a heck of a game and had a heck of a rookie season. So that if there was one positive in that game, there was that.
We'd like to hear you on him since you brought his name up. We spent all this time last year talking about the different receiver prospects. The Bills, as you'll know, trade down from Kansas City, which takes Worthy. Then they trade down again with Carolina, which takes Xavier Legette. The Bills end up Keon Coleman to start the second round. And New England, I think, even traded up there ahead of the Chargers for Polk, if I remember right. And then you have McConkey with L.A. If that's wrong, I apologize. But L.A. seems to have maybe gotten the right guy.
Yeah, and in L.A., the Chargers trade up a couple spots, I think, with the Raiders to end up getting McConkey. So very, very versatile, more of a slot receiver, but with the speed and the ability to stretch things, he's very good, especially as a speedy receiver, and also he's a guy who is not afraid to catch things down the middle of the field, which I love Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but they were more outside boundary type receivers. This guy is not afraid to get dirty down the middle of the field and take a hit and keep going. So, it should have been in running for Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. I think he got a couple votes, but good start to his career, and now I think they still got to go out and hopefully find a number one receiver. I think they've been linked to Amari Cooper. So we'll see how that goes after missing out on Adams and
Metcalf.
And being in the market for Metcalf. So if they can they can upgrade that pass game, I think it'll be good, especially after re-signing Mack and adding Najee Harris yesterday.
Right. I almost had it, but it was the Chargers trading up with New England for McConkey, and the Patriots. I had it in my mind that the Patriots could have taken him, and they could have just by using that pick. But they moved down 3 spots, and that's where the Chargers pounced.
So back to Ohio, are you going to just stay? Are you going to live right in between Cleveland and Cincinnati, Joe? Like, how's that? And two teams kind of at the opposite end of the spectrums here. The Browns are trying to dig out of the Deshaun Watson mess. I guess keeping Myles Garrett is a good first step in that. And the Bengals are trying to, I think, probably keep the band together as best they can.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the band together, which, you know, that Meatloaf once saying 2 out of 3 ain't bad as far as keeping people, and hopefully they can keep 2 out of 3. I mean, I know people criticize the Bengals a lot, but the one thing about them is they probably historically are low on dead cap money, so they know how to spend the money. Maybe not spend a lot of money at times, but they know how to spend the money. And, you know, adding Al Golden to kind of get that defense back on the right track is a good move because, you know, you're not going to win many 40-38 shootouts when that's the theme every week. So if that defense can get tighter, it should be a better year. And, you know, the Browns, they're always good for a surprise or two. I mean, trading for Kenny Pickett yesterday, I don't think anybody had that on their draft card. And, you know, there's some rumors about them maybe getting Kirk Cousins and try to get a trade that way, which if they could, after the whole Myles Garrett situation got resolved, it puts them in an excellent situation at 2 where, you know, you could go Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter instead of swinging for the fences and going Sanders or a quarterback in that situation. So it'll definitely be interesting for both Ohio teams, and with AFC East facing AFC North next year, looks like I'll possibly get to see the Bills twice next season.
Right, the Bengals are here, and the Bills go to Cleveland. Nice timing, avoiding most of the Watson mess, Joe. By the way, if I can offer that to you, like
I had the Carson Palmer and then the T.O. and Chad Ocho Johnson stuff in Cincinnati. So I think I've done my quota on messes for a while. But also with the Browns, there seems to be a couple different messes every year. So there'll surely be one coming down the pike one way or another.
Well, congrats, Joe, on the move, and thanks for your time today.
No problem. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, Joe.